Hi everybody, this is Jonathan King from theclinchreport.com and pugilpicks.com. I am here with World Series of Fighting fighter and Team Systems Training Center fighter coach, John Robles. John, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Great, good to see you. John, 7-3 as a pro, fighting in World Series of Fighting. You're also fighting in some of the regional shows around Southern California. We know you had some injury issues. How are you healing up?
Healing up good. It's mainly just time, time and rest and therapy, which is for me very hard sometimes. It's either foot on the gas pedal or I don't know what to do. So it's hard for me to slow down and take that time sometimes.
Now, you started your career undefeated, now coming off 2 losses. How did the losses change you as a fighter, or do they?
They definitely help you build as a fighter. If that's what you want to do, if you want to be a fighter, you have to learn to take the wins and the losses, and you need to take the lesson in the losses. If you don't want to do this is the worst room to be in, worst job to be in. So really test how bad you want things, what you're willing to do to get what you want. I mean, we're very lucky in our sport that a lot of the things you want are there waiting for you. You just have to be willing to go and get them. So when you lose, it helps you reset. Well, it forces you to reset and figure out where we can be better, where we can progress, and what are you willing to do to get what you want? Now,
one of the losses you're coming off of is a decision loss to UFC veteran Jared Papazian. Was that World Series of Fighting, your debut for a big promotion? Obviously, it didn't go your way, but what was it like fighting under the big lights for a big promotion?
With the big lights, I enjoy all that stuff before and after the fight. During the fight, I'm there to fight. That was one thing going into that fight was my goal. Before, I was preparing for another opponent, Joe Murphy, so I didn't have that comfort of being in the ring with someone I already know. So for me, it was conquering that being under the bright lights. Like, we have the lights, that you walk out in the smaller shows, but the crowd, the arena, everything that goes, they treat you like an athlete. So it's really easy to get caught up in that. My goal was going into it not to get caught up in it, and I felt like I didn't. The one thing that I did notice in that fight was fighting my teammate was the thing I had to overcome. That was my hardest obstacle. The big bright lights, I enjoy that stuff. That's what I dream of. That's what I work so hard for, is that moment. I always say, the night of the fight, that's the dance. That's my big moment. So all that stuff, I enjoy it.
Now, you touched on something that I just want to make a point about. In the UFC and Bellator, we have a lot of fighters that say, I'm not going to fight for the title because my teammate has it. You just touched on having to fight Jared Papazian, who's a teammate of yours. As a professional, if it came down to it, will you fight a teammate if you have to? If your goal is to get that strap or that belt and your teammate has it?
Definitely. I don't necessarily have it in my plan or look forward to fighting a teammate, but I have done it now. It's an obstacle I've overcome. A teammate is one thing, someone I train with every day. The likelihood of that happening on the smaller shows, they work around that stuff. But if it came to, me and another teammate fighting for the UFC belt, both our ultimate goals, and that was our choice. That's what we had to do because we're both the one and two guys. We would cross that bridge when we got to it. Lucky for me, my last fight, which kind of touched on that realm, was against a former teammate. So I didn't necessarily have to worry about, do we switch camps, who's going to corner who. It was a little bit different of an aspect, but that experience let me know that, at this point, I just have to be ready to fight anybody.
Your last fight, Chaos in the Casino against Aram Muradian, you were touching him early, seemed to not want anything to do with your hands. And once the fight got to the ground, you got caught in that armbar. Now, he comes from a camp that's notorious for those arm bars. Was that something that you were looking for going in?
What's funny is we were actually working those in the back. I hate to say it. We were working arm bars in the back. The one thing we were looking for with him was submissions, period. Arm bars, especially leg locks. My coach is very big on drilling the things that we need to focus on. We focus on leg locks a lot. Arm bars, we were practicing them in the back. I just made the simple mistake of thinking the fight was over. which I know now never to take any moment for granted. You know, I clapped him, put him on his butt, and things were going to plan, and it just got to the point where I felt like it was right there in the palm of my hands, and I walked right by, you know, the danger. I didn't address it, which is normally one of my things. I'm very big at addressing the threat first and moving forward. I didn't feel a threat because every time I touched him, I felt him just melting, and you know, now I'll never take it for granted. I got to put the guy away and be conscious of whatever he's got going on as well, even if I feel like I have him in the bag.
Tough question for you. John Robles now gets a chance to speak to John Robles, the fighter, 2 years ago. What do you say to him?
Interesting. What do I say to him?
Is there anything you'd change or anything you'd do differently?
2 years ago? No, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't, because I don't have any regrets. I mean, I'm very lucky to do what I do, and you know, I keep progressing as an athlete. You know, I guess maybe the one thing I would say is stretch. Stretch. Take care of your body. You only have one.
All right, take care of your body. You only have one. Very good point. So what can we see for you next? Where are we going to see you next? What's next for John Robles?
I'm looking to fight in August, you know, the first couple weeks of August. After that, we will look for, you know, what's going to get us to the next level. I feel like I'm right there on the bubble. I just need to, you know, get back on track and have a couple breakthrough performances. Like I said, the last fight was going according to plan. I would have put him away, took on another fight, and hopefully, you know, I'd be 9-1, or I'm sorry, 9-3, and that's a pretty good record, you know. And right now, it's not just a matter of getting to the UFC, but staying there. I want to finish there. I don't want to go there, have 2 fights, and then have to go on a 5-fight hot streak and come back. That's not my goal. My goal is to get there, stay there, make some noise, and then use that as a ladder to open up other options, you know, commentating, coaching, reffing. You know, I definitely want to be involved in the sport. I'm trying not to look so far into that. My goal right now is fighting and fulfill my dreams and my potential as a fighter. So getting to the UFC and staying there. So right now it's just a matter of picking the right fights and putting the right tools in my pocket to be ready when the time comes. It's, you know, it's not a matter of if, but when.
Now you have a bunch of sharks that you train with here at Systems. Anyone in particular you'd like to thank or shout out to? Every single one of my teammates, you know, especially the guys in my weight class and the guys above me that are pushing me, you know. We have a lot of variety here. We have, you know, good wrestling in Pedro Munoz, Ruben War, Christos Giagos, Doug Miller, you know, then every single one of those guys can strike as well. Jared Carlston, you know, Eddie Bravo black belt. Some of the stuff he shows us on a day-to-day basis, it's like, it's amazing, you know. Pedro's jiu-jitsu is good. Dmitry Gerasimov, I mean, every one of them, they're not just my friends. You know, Terrion Ware, like all these guys they're climbing, they're scratching, they're hungry, and it's great to have in the room on a day-to-day basis. And there's kids, I mean, this is our amateur team. I can't tell you, I mean, there's so many guys, from girls, guys, top to bottom, amateurs to pros. There's people that want to be in here, and they're working hard, and they all have great attitudes. Do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank? Oh, especially, you know, Patrick Malloy's is one of my sponsors. Systems Training Center for giving us a home to train at. Maddox Clothing, DVS Shoes, SC Construction, Mentum Eyewear, Iridium Sports, they're my sports management. You know, they're always helping out, and just everyone involved, you know, friends, family, teammates, coaches, all you guys, you know. It's great to have the support. All right, great. Thank you very much. This is Jonathan King from theclinchreport.com and PugelPicks.com. We are here live at Systems Training Center with John Robles from the World Series of Fighting. Thank you very much, John. Thank you.